Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Boomi How-To. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make GraphQL API calls to your metrics, to the API metrics, using the API Explorer within Boomi. Now, normally, if you want to make GraphQL calls, you would have to use a tool like Postman or Altair to easily do it. Boomi actually has an internal tool for making it easier. It automatically authenticates the request so you wouldn't have to do that like you would in a tool like Altair or Postman. To actually get to the API Explorer, we go to Resources, API Explorer, and give it a second to load. Might need to refresh my page. There we go. And there it is. So there's documentation on the right-hand side that can give you more details about the endpoints you're calling. But for metrics, we have two different ones. We have deployed API call detail and deployed API call summary. For this example, we're just going to be making a call to the deployed API call detail. We're going to be using a couple filters. This is going to be the start. So any request between these two dates, the 10th and the 31st, will be returned. And we're filtering by this gateway ID, which is my production gateway. The cool thing with GraphQL and the main reason for using it is that you can actually tell the API what details or data you want returned. So this is everything that would be returned. Say I didn't want the request URL returned, right? For privacy reasons, I can just remove that and it wouldn't be returned with the API call. So if I execute this, give it a couple seconds or a minute to run, you'll see only this set of data returned for each entry, each API call made. One thing to note is that the um, only 1,000 transactions are returned at a time with the API. So to get around this, you would actually have to use the next transaction ID and add that to your filter for your next call to query the next set of data. But here is the calls I've made since the 10th to the 31st. See, we have three different ones. As we can see, we can compare it to what's returned. We have the request TS. We have the gateway name and ID, the auth type that was used, the status code return, the method, my username, and right here we have the next transaction ID, which is null because there's no set of data after this because there's only so little. There's only three. If there was 1,000 or more, or like say 1,001, you would have a next transaction ID return. So you can use that to query the next set. A couple of use cases I've seen for this is just seeing how often a user calls an API. Um, and if you might need to remove a user, say they're not active anymore or haven't called an API, a specific one, you can maybe remove their access to the API. I've seen customers do that in the past with these metrics details that are returned. But that is kind of a high level overview of how you can make these calls. There's documentation on help.boomi.com on how to make calls to the metric. They have some examples of the formatting and the how a request body would look. So you could honestly just copy that formatting and paste it in here and replace the values with the ones you want for the filters. That'd probably be the easiest way to go about that. But that does it for this video. Thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day.